Today I'm going to take you through some of the different mixed media techniques I work both in my sketchbooks. These also go on to my paintings, but sketchbooks are a great way to experiment without the pressure of working really large or larger. And anyway, I thought I'd take you through some of the different things I do. Right now I'm just kind of laying down color in my sketchbook and not really giving too much thought about it, just kind of painting the pages. Of course, what I do now will dictate what I do later on as I start to kind of manipulate the color and try to bring some different design elements into the final part of this. But as I go through that, I'll explain what I'm talking about. But also, when I make these sketchbooks, I try to go inside the ridges there, where I'm painting inside there, just to kind of give it an overall feeling, and I have the complete white strip there. When I start, there's always a little bit of monotony. Just painting, we haven't gotten to the design questions and different solutions I want to put into the images I'll be making later on in this video. But there's always a certain amount of monotony. I always tell it to my students, not everything's going to be exciting. So as you start, this is pretty much how it goes. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to bring in some different, my first color, which I'm going to stick with the kind of the cool color family. Start with the kind of a light blue, and this is all done in acrylic. I'm still working with acrylic here, so I'm working fast because I'm going to do something a little different to make this work and have it drip a little bit. And I'm keeping it wet. This is a very wet acrylic. It's been watered down. And you have to kind of work fast to get this to work, is what I'm going to show you with some rubbing alcohol. Okay, just about got it into the watery mix I want. And this is the eyedropper I'm going to be using. And I've done this in other videos, but this is one I'm going to do here in the sketchbook. And I'm going to dip it right into the rubbing alcohol. So here it goes now, where I'm just going to have it, this kind of drip down the page. This is kind of an elevated easel, so you'll see some of it start to come down. And here we go. And you can see some of the alcohol automatically reacting with the wet acrylic paint. And here I've added some different stamping devices with just my glue stick and the end of a plastic cup. And as I get done with that, I'm going to start adding some acrylic paint, some warm colors that will hopefully contrast with the blues I already have. With these yellow and oranges, I'm trying to once again create a little bit of a asymmetrical balance on both sides of the page. And as I work through here, I'll try to explain some of the different choices I'm making. I'm also thinking about unity variety. I'm trying to do a variety of shapes, not just all the same. And that's also a very good principle to think about when you're working abstractly or non-representationally. Okay, now that I've got some of these shapes down, I'm going to take this knife here, which is kind of a one for scratchboard, but it also works just for scratching into paint. This is a little bit of a Scraffito technique. I also show to my students in class as well. Anything that you put down that you can scratch into. Sometimes people use oil pastel, but I'm going to go ahead and scratch into the acrylic paint I've already made. I'm going to kind of blend it into the initial blues. That blue is actually still wet from the alcohol, so it's all kind of coming together in terms of bringing some repetition now. That's another principle design, kind of repeating the marks I'm making right now. I'm always pushing my students to see and understand the different principles of design as they work through a piece. I think it's important. Now I'm going to switch over again while it's still just slightly wet. I'm going to mix up a light color, kind of a pale white, and I'm going to bring that over top of this. This kind of blends in some of the colors I've already put on, but also I'm going to dab this here with a paper towel in a second, and that will also give me a different texture as I work through it. Sometimes I'll do these and people will say, oh no, you're destroying what you just made. But if I do, that's fine. You can make endless amounts of pages like this, and some are going to not work. Some will. That's the magic, I think, of making abstractions. Some things may not turn out, but you took the chance and you will learn from those. But overall, I wanted to pale down some of this page because I am going to draw on top of this when I'm done. If the colors underneath this are too strong, they're going to fight with the marks that I'm going to bring in here later. But it will make sense as I go towards the end. But my encouragement is not to worry about ruining things. Just go for it. When it comes to this part, even if you don't like it at all, you can even start over with more alcohol again and run it down the page. That will make the picture even more rich in texture and color. Okay, just about done here dabbing, trying to make the final selections. I'm now going to switch over to another technique I like to use, and that is using Stencil. So here I'm just going to cut a random shape, and you can see here on the page as I try to struggle on top of the painting. But I'm going to cut just a kind of an organic shape, and I'm going to place this on the surface here in a second. Okay, I'm going to take a darker green now. I've got the other green on the kind of the bluish green. Now I'm going to take kind of an orangish green, and I'm just going to trace that shape, and I'm going to pull it off. And while it's still wet, I'm going to take some water and kind of blend that image out into the rest of the page so it's not just sitting there. So this will take a little bit of time to water down the marks. And stenciling is always something that can create some contrast, some unusual lines. Okay, there we go, and I'm going to go now to the other page. As I finish off this part, I'm going to let some of that line bleed out. But over here on the left, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to turn the stencil in the vertical position, and I'm once again going to trace it and do the same thing. I'm going to kind of bleed that line out into the rest of the page. I'm still working on balancing my page, and that goes with all the artwork I do. Balance is always a big concern for me. Asymmetrical balance is something that I'm not sure is talked about enough, but I definitely work at it through all of my pieces. And here on the right hand side, I'm going to try to make some, once again, a design that's not lined up with the other page, trying to create that certain balance I'm looking for. Okay, the page is still a little wet, but it's dried a bit, and now I'm going to bring some collage in. And I've got my glue stick here, and I'm going to glue 3 pieces on here. And I just, very haphazardly, randomly took a couple of numbers. Number 6 I pasted down. And on the other side, I'm going to add another one here. And this is just some text from, I think, a National Geographic. And once you can think about elements and shapes on the page, in the bottom right hand corner I did the 6, at the top I did the text, and over here on the left I'm going to bring in a 5, and just trying to give a kind of a triangle effect of balance as I'm working with the other shapes I've already put down. And for me personally, doing abstraction like this is about working on each side of the page, trying to equalize or balance both sides. Now I'm going to bring some yellow and ochre into the collage pieces I've just added, and I'm just using my fingers to kind of blend some of the paint on out into the rest of the image. And then I'm going to bring over here to the 6 and do the same thing. And I think we're about there on that. And then I'm going to go back up to the text and do the yellow ochre as well. And that kind of makes those collage elements sit on the page a little less obtrusively. And here are my Neopastels, basically an oil pastel, which you've seen in many of my videos. And this is going to be the next thing I add to the mix. And it has dried a bit since I last worked on this, so I'm going to bring in some warm colors once again, since there's so many cool on the page. So I'm bringing in some pinks, and we're going to see how this turns out. And I'm just kind of bringing in some yellow ochre here, and I'm going to move to the other side, and once again trying to get that kind of mirrored effect a bit, asymmetrically of course, and some pink as well to bring some more texture. I'm looking for a little more texture with the oil pastel, and that generally happens with oil pastel. It gives you definitely a crayon look. A lot of beginning artists do not like oil pastel. I think it's not an easy medium to use, but with abstraction, I've always loved it because you can really see the marks on the page when you put them on there. And now I'm going to work intuitively here. I'm going to be bringing in a couple portraits on both pages, and this is just completely from memory, where I'm trying to bring in some expression over top the abstraction I've already made. So this piece will still be pretty much an abstract piece, but with some line work as well through portraiture. Since I've worked with kids most of my life and teaching, they often come back in drawings, and some of the conversations I've had over the years still kind of flow into my head from past students, and some of these may date back 20 years. After using the yellow, I'm bringing back in some brown tones, and I'm just kind of going in and blending in with the yellow I already have, and this will continue to bring that initial line a little stronger over top of the blues in the background. Okay, now onto the left side, and I'm going to begin just below that text with the yellow oil pastel once again, and just kind of bringing another facial shape into the piece. I guess I'm really trying to get that ghost-like image that I usually try to get in most of my pieces. If you've seen some of my past YouTube videos, transparency plays a big role in my paintings, and in the sketchbooks I also like to investigate that theme. The whole idea of transparency versus opacity, and that kind of fits in with some of the principles of design I talk to with my students. Okay, last thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to bring in one of my pens with the nib end, which I love to work with, and just kind of bring some sketching lines into it, kind of solidify some line work, and there you see the bottle of ink I use. So I'm just going to kind of go around and bring some more lines and textures into it. And the other side. And once again, do not be afraid to make marks. Great thing about doing pages like this, if you don't like it, you can probably find another material or even take acrylic and paint over it. And I've done that before, and that can add, once again, even adds to the picture. Mistakes can absolutely add to what you do in a sketchbook. In fact, I think a sketchbook of mistakes is often very interesting to look at, and seeing the corrections, revisions that people add to them. Okay, just adding the finishing touches here as I get ready to finish what I've done here today. And this will take us on to the next section. I'll give you like an overall shot, maybe get a little closer to show you the different marks. And here they are. You can see how rough the oil pastel can look against the slick acrylic in the background, and also you can see the collage. Anyway, thanks for watching today. I've really enjoyed doing this. If you like the video, please hit the subscribe button and like it, and bring me any comments. I will see you later.